Welcome to episode 3 of April Anger 2026. For our first match for the video, we're going to be having Marth against Rosalina. Going to be on Final Destination for this battle. Rosalina with a just up smash approach. I can't believe it worked. Especially since Marth's a character who normally likes to space himself away from opponents. You do sometimes, of course, have to run towards the opponent to get the spacing correctly. And Marth is just having the hardest time landing here. He does finally get his feet on the ground. Not getting the spike hitbox was actually worse for Marth there because it put him off stage. If he just got normally spiked, he could have at least tried to tech. And if that doesn't work, okay, Marth is able to make that back, even if just barely. Back thrown off stage. Goes very high, air dodges, he's got a regrab here. Rosalina doesn't seem to have figured out how to punish that, though. She is down to Luma. But also it should be coming back pretty soon. And falling up air is actually able to take Marth's stock. Oh, yep, there's the Luma. In case anyone doesn't know, the different colors of Luma don't actually mean anything. Just visual decoration. It's not like one has more health. They're not like Pikmin. Although, weirdly enough, in the Mario games, it actually dictates what they transform into. If you see a blue Luma, it's going to transform into a Pulsar every time. Yellow ones can kind of transform into anything. Having fun with ledge trumping there. Rosalina gets smacked out. Luma actually didn't get hit by that one. That was actually pretty important because... So Luma has about 50 HP if I remember correctly. However, you can put Luma into what is effectively hit stun. It will just tumble until it lands. You can see it right there. So Luma was put into the tumble. Even though Luma still had health to spare, it fell off the bottom of the screen and died. Which is very bad for Rosalina. Because first of all, Luma takes time to fall to its death. And then dies. And then once it dies, it can start respawning. Rosalina is, of course, a character who's stronger when she has a Luma next to her than compared to when she doesn't. I suppose any character would probably be stronger when they have a Luma. It would be a pretty rare exception. Oh, yep, Luma got hit once and died for it. Rosalina should be able to make that back. She goes dangerously low, but she does, in fact, make it back. Catching Marth landing with a grab. Not normally what you catch a landing with, but it seems to have worked. Forward air just barely missing. Probably would have killed Marth there. Marth needs to get the kill soon. Simply because he's at a percentage range that... Well, since both characters... And he's not going to. Alright. So the importance of getting the kill from Marth there was that it would have gotten rid of Rosalina's rage. Rosalina is not a character who, I think, normally struggles to kill. However, when you have rage and your opponent has rage, a lot of things that possibly wouldn't kill suddenly get really good at killing. You can see right there, Rosalina just barely missed the blast zone. If Marth was still on his previous stock, I'm pretty sure that move would have killed. Alright, Marth smacking Luma instead of trying to punish Rosalina. While there is definitely some merit to trying to deny Rosalina one of her assets, Luma spawns so quickly and so reliably that if you dedicate most of the match towards trying to kill Luma, you'll often just get beaten to death by Rosalina. If anything, you more have to... Well, usually you're a character who happens to have a move that deals with Luma really well, or you're not that character. There's too many moves in the game to go over which moves are and are not great at defeating Luma. But usually you'll just be fighting Rosalina, you'll notice you keep knocking Luma away, and you'll realize, oh, I should keep using that move because it's doing really good. And Marth has been going for a lot of taunts here. Especially bad when he does it out of a combo. That is a symptom of all of our older amiibo. Before we got more standardized, there were gaps in the training that allowed the taunting tendency to seep its way in. It is unfortunate, and it's very hard to train out. Usually any amiibo who have that symptom and get retrained, the retraining program seems to be good enough to stop them from doing it, but never completely. It's a shame, too, because all of the taunting the amiibo do are actually because of the spirits they were given. Marth barely made that back. The spirits they were given, and not out of any taunting during their initial training protocol. Specifically because an amiibo who taunts simply might never want to stop. And here we've got Byleth against Robin. Definitely got a Fire Emblem fight going on here. You actually see both characters have not the same entrance animation, but very similar. What, with the glowing glyph on the ground and whatnot. Robin is taking a lot of damage very fast. Somehow avoids getting hit by that down smash. Byleth tries to charge a projectile against one of the runaway and chargiest projectile characters in the game. Doesn't work out super well, gets hit in the face with a thunder for it. That's barely not killing. Robin air dodges to the ledge. I am actually not sure what her Elwind Tome is at. Okay, it still has one more charge in it. Byleth doesn't seem to be going off stage at all for edge guarding. Kind of gives Robin just a free pass to make it back. Now the Elwind Tome is recharging, and Robin gets killed off the top of the screen, so it's probably not going to come up. Down throw up tilt, I didn't know that connected. After losing her first stock, Robin suddenly decided to become incredibly effective. Again, dodging that down smash. Byleth is a hard-hitting, slow character, so you don't want to get hit by any of her moves. It gets a little bit harder because Byleth has very long weapons, the spear in particular, but the other weapons aren't particularly short in range. I mean, one of them's a bow. You know that's not going to be short range. And of course, Byleth being a previous April Anger winner, you know it's going to be a tough match. Whereas Robin's still going off of, well, the original batch of amiibo training. You can see by some of the taunting she did earlier. Talked about that last match if you watched that. Side special, getting the tip hitbox, that's going to kill Robin for her second stock. Seeing as that she's only done about 50% to Byleth, this game is effectively already decided. Although if Byleth keeps taking point-blank Thorons from zero charge to full charge, I guess that would change things. That side special, it doesn't seem like it's a great move, but it comes out fast enough and deals enough damage and knockback. It's one of those moves that you think it's bad, but it's just good enough to not be. Clipping Robin with the up air there. Byleth actually has a pretty strong up air, even if it looks like a whole bunch of little whip flicky things. It actually does kill, and because it lasts so long, it's very good at catching things like air dodges. Byleth at the ledge. Robin looks like she went for a ledge trump, but she wasn't able to get it. Byleth still committing to the ledge trapping. To be fair, Byleth does have pretty good ledge trapping. She has a forward smash that can hit people who are hanging on the ledge. She actually just tried to use it there. Robin wasn't going for a re-grab, so she still had invincibility on that. Robin gets a parry, but her smash attacks are shorter now because her sword is out of charges. She's stuck using the bronze sword instead of the Levin sword. And without even taking a stock off of Byleth, Robin's not going to be winning that one. And here we have Piranha Plant against Olimar. Funny enough, Piranha Plant is actually not from any Pikmin games. He's a Mario character, even though he would be right at home in the Pikmin universe. Large plant with teeth. Yeah, that, without the teeth part, I suppose, that explains a lot of enemies in just the Pikmin games. Large, carnivorous, whatever. In this case, plant. Usually Olimar fights fewer plants than other things. But I think he does fight plants every now and then. It's a little bit harder to justify since he effectively uses tiny plants to fight the big plants. So that's why he fights a lot more bugs and crabs and whatnot. Piranha Plant going for the Patooey, it's a move that can kind of be described as the poor man's counter, in that you hold the spiky ball above your head, and if you get hit, it usually ends up landing on the opponent unless they're using a very long disjoint. And some characters just don't have a disjoint long enough. While you wouldn't typically think to use it as a counter, that's what a lot of Piranha Plant players effectively use it as. Since, from a distance, it's a projectile, and if your opponent manages to close the gap, you can see right there, Olimar hit Piranha Plant out of the Patooey, but still got hit by the spike ball. And because it's a very pointy, spiky projectile, it actually does a lot of knockback. So you can sometimes kill people by having them hit you. If you're ever struggling with how to deal with the Patooey, you can always just grab Piranha Plant and time a throw so that your throw invincibility doesn't get you hit by the Patooey. It can be a little hard, though, because usually Piranha Plants won't use the Patooey in a situation where you can easily punish them and not get punished in return. Piranha Plant suddenly having a hard time landing. He has been getting juggled by Olimar a lot this game. Finally finds a way out with up air. Goes for a down special on ledge. He actually gets pushed off by Olimar's push box. And Olimar's gotten 2 kills on Piranha Plant, still hasn't lost his first stock. Starts the up air chain. He actually ends the combo with a back air, so he's not able to keep going, but it does get him a safe escape. Piranha Plant's up air is able to take Olimar's first stock. Looking like it might be a little too late, though. Whenever you get a Pikmin stuck to you like Piranha Plant did, you can smack it off if you have a move that has a hitbox that... Well, usually you just need the hitbox to cover your character. And the difficulty, though, is that if Olimar's chasing you down and you've got a Pikmin stuck to you, you have to choose if you want to put yourself in a risky situation to get punished by Olimar, or just deal with taking damage from the Pikmin. And that's going to be that game. Olimar did really well. And now we have Snake against Peach. Two characters who are named after nouns. It sounds like a nature documentary. Peach getting first blood, getting a raw back air on Snake. I didn't even see Snake place that C4. Obviously, he must have landed it because he was able to detonate it, no problem. Gets a C4 stuck to Peach. Blows it up immediately. There's not too much sense in waiting in that situation for the detonation. Especially since when Peach is airborne in her float, which is a very strong mechanic she has, by the way. When Peach is floating, she can't shield. So any projectiles can usually be beaten out by shielding them. However, while Peach is floating, that's not an option she has. She can go for an air dodge, but that comes with its own risks. Snake gets put off stage. His up special has a little bit of armor there. You can see he was able to get through Peach's attack without getting knocked off of his Cypher. Goes very low, able to make it back to the stage. It's actually pretty precarious because if you're Snake, you're covering low to the ledge. On a stage like this where you have the solid walls on the side instead of the empty void, if your Cypher doesn't quite make it, you can try to go for a C4 recovery. However, because there's walls on this stage, if you're too close, you will actually stick your C4 to the wall and then keep falling. So when you try to detonate it on yourself to get that extra recovery, it just won't happen. Snake gets a C4 stuck to himself. You can actually see they give you a courtesy little red dot whenever it switches targets. And when it's first placed. Basically to make it just a little bit more visible. Up there you could actually see, apparently he got the C4 smacked off of him. I didn't even know that could happen. It's on that right platform there. A little difficult to see, especially if you're watching this on a smaller device. Although, according to my analytics, apparently everyone's watching this on a TV. Which is not even an option I'd considered for the tournament. I do generally scale everything towards the smallest resolution or device available, with the assumption being that if you can see it on a phone, you can see it on a tablet, you can see it on a computer, and you should most definitely be able to still read it on a TV, since people on the phones are making do. Phones these days have a much higher resolution than they used to. But also YouTube will always compress your videos anyway. And unfortunately I don't have 38 devices to test all my videos out on. Nick recovers high. Peach still not finding the kill. Gets hit by a raw up smash. And she gets a forward air, and that's able to get the kill. Snake with a very obvious C4 plant. Let's see if he's able to capitalize on that later. Peach having a hard time recovering. Did she lose her float? Usually, Peach has one of the best horizontal recoveries in the game. Since her airspeed's fine, she has a double jump and a float and her up special recovery, which is actually one of the best. And the C4 automatically detonated on Snake. Her up special recovery, if she ever needs even more horizontal recovery somehow, it does leave her a little exposed, but it is an option she has. Waiting for the float to expire so she can see drop the turnip. Snake shields just long enough though. A little surprised he didn't go for an up tilt. Snake has a really great up tilt. Comes out fast, kills. The automatic detonation occurring right before Peach was able to make it to the ledge. That's the second time Snake's, first of all, let his C4 stand long enough that it explodes without him intervening. Peach loves to approach Snake in the air and then air dodge through his move. It's a little interesting because Peach is definitely a very aerial-based character. Dropping from the ledge to hit Snake with neutral air, that actually worked out pretty well in that situation. Peach does not have a spike to go for off stage. Her down air is actually a whole bunch of kicks. Oh, she just used it for you. It kind of has to be that way because her float is so good. Her down air is, as a result, difficult to use, or at least unintuitive, I'd say. It does last a while, but it doesn't particularly kill, and it sends the opponent kind of like up and out, so that it's really hard to gimp people with. Again, because if it wasn't that way, Peach would be an absolute menace off stage. And really, the only reason she's not an even worse menace off stage is usually because she's usually on stage throwing turnips at you. It just turns out that even though she has such great floating capabilities, just Peach's ledge trapping happens to be usually more beneficial. But you know, watch out, if you get too comfortable, Peach will just jump off stage and kill you with a forward air. That parry allowed Peach to get a down smash on Snake. And then both characters just kind of aren't hitting each other for a bit now. Just kind of floating outside each other's range, hoping the other one was the first one to make a mistake. Oh, Snake got hit by both hits of the get-up attack there. Get-up attacks aren't normally great attacks. Usually they're pretty slow, but they do a little bit of, like, a good amount of damage, which is why you don't want to get hit by both hits from it. Also, a lot of get-up attacks do a surprising amount of shield damage. So any get-up attack that hits on both sides of the character, you especially don't want to get hit by both hits on, because if your shield's a little bit damaged, it can and will just break your shield. Peach not going for an up air there. Oh, now there's an up air. You can see there, Snake was actually able to fall out of Peach's down air. The hits aren't super consistent. I don't think they're meant to be. Forward air, not enough to kill Snake yet. He doesn't get hit by the turnip. He goes high. Peach easily makes that back. Neither side of the screen. Forward tilt, barely not enough to kill Peach. She actually used her side special to recover there. That's an option I didn't even mention earlier, but it's an option she has for even more horizontal recovery. Snake's gonna be winning that match. And that brings us to Mega Man against Hero. A matchup that is quite often dictated by how many times Hero can find bounce in the command menu. Any good Mega Man player worth their salt should know how to fight a character who's currently in a reflective state. So, while yes, it is easier for Mega Man to simply spam projectiles, he does have moves that aren't projectiles. However, it can be difficult when a character such as Hero's the only one who can get a passive reflector without the help of an item. But when he does, it can be difficult for Mega Man simply because so many of his attacks are projectiles. Some of his attacks you might not even use in a projectile manner, but they still count. For instance, his down air is a very short-range projectile. You normally use it as a spike, and that's normally the last thing you're thinking about as a projectile. But it still is. Also, Mega Man's neutral air, the first lemon he fires out, has a significantly different knockback from the others. Basically so that it kind of works as how you'd normally expect a neutral air to, where it knocks the opponent away from you, usually good for when you're getting comboed. Ooh, that back air is able to kill. So you can use his neutral air as a normal get out of combo option, but his neutral air still does fire projectiles. And if Hero is currently reflecting all of those, you can see also their point-blank charge shot, that's Mega Man's forward smash. It's actually a surprisingly strong forward smash, I gotta say. Obviously, of course, when it's full charged, you get the bigger beam and it goes farther. But even just the base version, surprisingly just has enough knockback to kill at higher percents, which is not normally what you'd expect from a projectile. Alright, both characters just keep jumping off stage. Finally, Mega Man breaks the monotony and lands an up tilt. Hero needs to make it back. Mega Man goes for a spike, doesn't get it. Back throw, not quite killing. Goes the middle blade off stage, doesn't get all the hits of back air to connect. But Mega Man did get a tech, so he didn't face an early death. So when Hero isn't getting bounced, he actually has a little bit of a hard time pulling out the command menu, simply because Mega Man has enough projectiles that he can always pester him from a distance, which is normally the easiest way to stop the command menu from coming up, since Hero's pretty vulnerable when he's just literally standing there thinking about what to do. So any projectile can break him out of that, while also not putting yourself at risk. Characters who don't have projectiles will have to approach Hero, and sometimes he will get Hatchet Man, and that's a strong attack with armor that can break shield. Well, it will break a full shield, I should specify. So running up and shielding isn't exactly safe. especially if your shield's damaged, because if Hero's perusing the command menu and you start approaching him, he'll quite often just pick whatever option he has selected and hope it works out. A little interesting how they accidentally made a character where reading comprehension is an important skill to have. Not that we have enough of that going around these days, so anything that can encourage people to read, I'd recommend. But also, the other popular way you'll see Hero played is just pull out a spell. You don't know what it is, but that means your opponent doesn't either. It will sometimes get you killed. You will sometimes get Kamikaze, or a spell that you weren't expecting that puts you in a tough situation. But also, sometimes you get an explosion. And pulling it out an explosion in your opponent's face is pretty good, as it turns out. Hero went for a roll there that actually got him clipped by the last hit of that up smash. Hero tried to charge a neutral special. I don't think Mega Man's going to give him the break he needs to do that. Hero not getting killed by the up air. Mega Man's up air is a move that if you don't know how to deal with it, it will kill you. If you do know how to deal with it, then it usually doesn't. Simply put, just fastball through it, and you should be fine. You do have to worry about landing on a Mega Man. That's a whole nother issue. But as long as you don't jump while you're getting hit by the wind box, you shouldn't be dying. Although I think the wind box is actually slightly percentage dependent, so if you're at a high enough percent, you can get pushed off the top. But at that point, if he had hit you with any other move that didn't have a wind box at a high enough percentage, you'd die anyway. So it's a pretty fair trade-off, to be honest. Whereas most other wind boxes, and I'm still not incredibly sure about Mega Man's being percentage-based by any degree, but most of the wind boxes are normally set knockback. Hero goes for an edge guard, doesn't get it. Hero's almost healed up at the full. Okay, that up air took him to not full, but he's still at a much lower percentage than Mega Man is. Back throw puts Mega Man back off stage. Hero not able to get the punish. Mega Man with a great parry got an up smash out of that. Hero needs to land. Gets really high up. Tries to take the opportunity to open the command menu, but doesn't capitalize on it. Up close forward smash. Well, not at kill percent, it actually did, just enough. And Mega Man's actually gotten below Hero's percentage here. Fireball sending Mega Man to the opposite corner of the stage, not quite enough to kill. Mega Man releasing shield too early. Did he get out the footstool on Hero? Hero's able to make that back. Forward tilt by the side of the stage. Both hits connect. That's going to be the match for Mega Man. Hero wins. And for our next match, we're going to be having Link against Roy. On Final Destination, we've got two swordies here, but Link has projectiles and Roy is just fast. He did just get hit by a whole bunch of up tilts in a row and a forward smash. And Link actually getting in with the recovery. Things are suddenly looking very bad for Roy. Granted, Roy is very good at making a comeback. I wouldn't declare him the comeback king like Lucario is. Lucario has just so much aura bonuses to help him make a comeback out of nowhere. However, I would be fine putting Roy at second place. Though I suppose some characters do, for example, Joker and Cloud and Sephiroth do have specific mechanics to try to help them make an easier comeback. However, Roy doesn't need those mechanics. He just has some... If he gets the sweet spot of some of his smash attacks, usually forward smash to be honest, it hits really hard. Especially near a ledge, it can kill at 60% even. So the trick to Roy's sweet spots is that he actually deals damage closer to the base of the blade. You can see right there, that almost just killed Link. So, it's the inverse of Marth's blade, where the tip of the sword, usually they call it getting a tipper, is the strongest. Roy, it's stronger at the base, so he is kind of naturally incentivized to run into the opponent to get close enough. And he's fast enough that he can actually do that in a lot of matchups. Interestingly, the sour spots usually don't combo as well as the sweet spots, which normally when you get a sweet spot, it would be unable to combo. For example, on the forward smash there, you could see it sent Link way too far away for Roy to be able to combo up, to follow up on that with some sort of combo. However, a lot of Roy's aerials, just you hit the sweet spot and you get a better combo out of it. Interesting character design. But yes, given Roy's propensity to throw out random smash attacks, a comeback is definitely possible. Roy doing a pretty good job avoiding Link. So, when you have speed versus a projectile, there's certain ranges where one is more effective than the other. At the longest range, usually projectiles are more effective because running towards the opponent will still get you shot in the head with an arrow. For example, in this matchup, Link does not get the edge guard there. However, there's this weird middle range where a projectile is still good because it covers options such as running towards the opponent and running away from the opponent. And then when you get into super close ranges, it's kind of up to a character-specific sort of deal. If they have a projectile that comes out really fast, then I suppose that would win out, but usually the character has a really fast burst option move they can throw out instead. Roy having a hard time hitting Link. He does get him with a forward smash. Down tilt, a little interesting. He probably could have gone for a smash attack there. And yep, he got the sweet spot of that one. Both characters' final stock, 0%. Roy dancing back and forth, gets a bomb thrown at him for his trouble. Almost rolls into that arrow, but not quite. Link picks up the arrow, actually hits Roy with it. Roy now in a very dangerous situation. Hits Link with the recovery. Roy's up special does do a significant amount of damage if he can hit all the hits. Roy going for a forward smash when Link was dancing above him. Should have probably gone for an up smash, maybe an up air. Link falls past the ledge, able to grab it. Again, both characters playing by the ledge. It's probably not to Link's benefit, because if he gets hit by a couple of stray hits, that'll actually put him at kill percent, whereas if he's at center stage, he's a lot more likely to survive. Roy managing to avoid the boomerang there. He does get parried, though. Up special is killing. Link will be moving on. And for this match, we're going to be having Diddy Kong against Joker. And once you know it, once again, both of the amiibo have the same color palette. It's of course impossible to plan for, but it's always slightly disappointing every time it happens. That was actually a pretty good up smash from Joker. It covered enough of the platform, and Diddy Kong actually went for a roll, so he got hit by that. The platforms on this stage are narrower than, well, the other platforms you normally see on Battlefield or Small Battlefield. So effectively it means that if you're tech rolling onto them, you're more likely to get hit. Diddy Kong makes it back to the stage. Keeps getting these dash attacks on Joker. The Weeble seems to have figured out he can hit Joker with a dash attack and then a forward air. Diddy Kong going for the raw forward smash, but Joker ran back just in time to avoid getting hit. Up smash just barely reaching long enough to hit that top, well, to hit all the way up on the platform. I believe the Pokemon Stadium platforms are also a little higher than you'd see on a lot of other stages. Changes the power dynamics of which characters can punish things on the platform while grounded. Joker tethers back to the stage. Goes for a get-up attack, though. Diddy Kong saw that coming, able to shield it. Joker trying to go for some sort of up air drag down shenanigans. Doesn't seem to have worked out. Diddy Kong just smacked him. Either side of the stage, Joker having Arsene. This is probably pretty dangerous for Diddy Kong, who manages to make it back. Trades a something with Joker and gets killed. I can only imagine that was an up smash. Diddy Kong now in a terrible position. 2 stocks behind, still hasn't gotten a kill on Joker. Keeps landing these dash attacks, but he doesn't seem to be getting a kill out of them. He did go for a forward smash there, just didn't connect. Diddy Kong finally getting his first kill, while being effectively an entire stock behind. There aren't too many solid metrics you can measure who's winning a match in Smash Brothers. Really, the only 2 things you can even go off of is stocks and percentage. Maybe some characters have a special resource, you could try to go off of that as well, I suppose. But percentage being only slightly indicative of when a character is going to perish. Whereas stocks are very strictly a count of how many times you can die before you're done playing. And of course the goal in the 1v1 match is, if you're not going for a timeout condition, you are trying to relieve the opponent of all of their stocks before they do it to you. It's interesting to see how the different rule sets of Smash Brothers are implemented, because anything that's officially through Nintendo, or I guess I should be more specific and say anything that's planned out by Sakurai, usually has the time condition. But that leads to, first of all, so many timeouts, because every match will go the full length anyway. And then also you can have an opponent inches away from death at, let's say, 250%, anything will kill them. Then the match ends, and it counts for exactly 0 points. And it kind of leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Forward tilt, not quite killing. It's a move that gets a lot of flack for not being as useful as Diddy Kong's down tilt. Mostly because Diddy Kong's down tilt can actually combo into some of his smash attacks, depending on the situation, of course. However, in Smash Brothers, you'll quickly find that a move can't be bad simply because a character has a better move. It just gets used less, because it's not their best option in that situation. And for this final match of this episode, we're going to be having Luigi against Yoshi. Little tragic, normally these characters are both green. In this match, they're both purple. Interestingly enough, I think they're both green specifically so they can contrast with Mario's red. Which does make sense. Red is usually the color that sticks out the most. And green being completely opposite from red on the color wheel means you're not going to get any sort of color mixing going on. It does, however, get to be a problem in some of the Mario Party games, when every character needs to be assigned a unique color. And Luigi and Yoshi are both very much the green character. It's interesting to see how some games handle it. Some of them just have them both be green. Sometimes I've seen Luigi get assigned blue because of his overalls. Still feels weird because, you know, Luigi's color is green, but that's the only other color that isn't taken between them. I guess Yoshi's saddle is a little bit red, but then if you're in a game with Mario, then you're right back to square one. So both the amiibo just seem to be... they're just trading hits constantly. Now, Luigi is a pretty combo-y character, and Yoshi has a tendency to just throw Nair out of any situation he doesn't feel like being in. Yoshi definitely being a character who's dominated by the A button. I mean, I guess every character to some degree should be using the A button a lot more than the B button usually. But Yoshi has some very good, easy to use A button presses. And some difficult to use or unintuitive specials. Alright, both characters actually made it back from that. I expected someone to either miss attack or get edge guarded or maybe even get spiked. Back hit of up tilt actually hitting Luigi there. Yoshi goes high. Uses double jump. He probably wishes he had that about right now. Yeah, these characters don't seem to be comboing each other today, since they don't really have combos out of their aerials unless they're close to the ground typically. But they seem to both enjoy jumping and just smacking the crap out of each other. A little interesting, you don't usually see the amiibo play like this. They got a trade there that's a little weird because it sent them both up. Luigi does get a stock ahead of Yoshi. We'll see how long that lasts. He just uses double jump, and he gets hit by a very high down air. So Yoshi's down air, it sends you up. This is so that it doesn't become one of the best spikes in the game, because if it sent you down, it would be atrocious to deal with. And especially since Yoshi has such a good double jump, he can actually go pretty far off stage. So if his down air sent you down in the slightest, that would be a massive problem. So they made it send you up, so it sends you back up towards the stage so Yoshi can't get cheap kills. Then they gave him a forward air that spikes, kind of reversing the purpose of giving him the non-spike down air. Yoshi did have his double jump after that. Oh, Luigi got a two-hit combo. That's kind of an achievement this game. Even though normally when you get grabbed by Luigi, he has a lot of combos he can go for. A lot of them are percent dependent, mind you. But usually at any percent, Luigi has something he can do. He has a lot of combos out of down throw. He has a lot of kill combos out of down throw, too, if you're at the right percent. Threshold's a little specific on that, I believe. But also Luigi has such a great combo game out of throws that it's usually not too much of a burden for him to just go for a whole bunch of grabs. And of course, back throw, that actually almost killed from halfway across the stage. Able to two-frame Yoshi there, I'm pretty sure. I'm not entirely sure if Yoshi was actually entering the ledge grab animation. That's going to be it for this episode. Next episode, we're going to be going through the final contestants of Round 1 of the April Anger Tournament. So be sure to stick around for that. But until then, bye.